Stina Nilsson, a name that needs no introduction. A world-class cross-country skier turned biathlete whose transition surprised many, drew worldwide attention, and sparked many heated debates. As of the spring of 2024, Stina officially announced the end of her biathlon career, so it's time to objectively review her successes and failures and put to bed the heated controversy surrounding her decision to switch to biathlon. While many fans argue that her biathlon career fell short compared to her cross-country skiing accolades, it's crucial to put her achievements into perspective, especially considering the immense competitiveness of biathlon and the extraordinary successes of the Swedish women's biathlon team. Stina Nilsson made a name in the world of cross-country skiing, where she enjoyed a highly decorated career. With an Olympic gold medal in the sprint at the PyeongChang 2018 Olympics and a series of World Cup victories, Nilsson was at the pinnacle of her sport. Her powerful sprint speed made her one of the most feared competitors on the circuit. However, in 2020, at the peak of her skiing career, Nilsson made the bold decision to switch to biathlon, a move that was met with both intrigue and skepticism. Critics questioned why an athlete at the height of her career would abandon a sport where she was one of the best in the world for one where she would essentially have to start from scratch. The move was seen as risky, and many doubted whether she could replicate her success in a sport as complex and unforgiving as biathlon. The Swedish media, known for its passionate coverage of winter sports, was quick to weigh in on Nilsson's decision. While some of the outlets were supportive, recognizing the challenge that she had set for herself, others were more critical. Reports from Swedish tabloids highlighted the immense pressure Nilsson faced, both from the public and from within the biathlon community. The sentiment was that her name carried high expectations, and any perceived failure would be magnified due to her previous success in cross-country skiing. There was a sense that Nilsson's decision was a gamble, not just for her personally, but for the Swedish biathlon team as well. With the team already boasting some of the world's top athletes, there were some concerns about how Nilsson would fit into a squad that was already performing at an elite level. Critics questioned whether her inclusion would disrupt the team's dynamics, or whether she would be able to contribute meaningfully in such a competitive environment. After a rocky start to her biathlon career at some early season Swedish Cups, Stina earned a spot on her nation's IBU Cup squad to start the 2021 season, less than a year after she made the decision to switch to biathlon. Many fans questioned whether the cross-country champion was ready for international competition. And unfortunately for Stina, she didn't help her case when she placed 99th in her first IBU competition. Her shooting record of 50% was somewhat expected considering how new she was to the sport, but what really turned a lot of heads was her ski rank. You would think the fast cross-country skier coming off the top of her sport would tear up the likes of the IBU Cup on the ski trail, but in her first biathlon race, Stina's ski rank was 54th. It would take Stina several races to find her ski form, but she quickly became the biathlete we expected her to be. With a month of competing at the IBU Cup, her ski ranks dropped as she became the undisputed fastest skier on the B-level circuit. Her shooting even started to see some consistency. Maintaining a steady 70% shooting record earned Stina an invite to the World Cup final at her home track of Östersund, where she would make her World Cup debut. Ironically, in the spotlight of her home fans, she boasted her best shooting performance to date, shooting 90% in the sprint and earned a 26th place finish.
Stina Nilsson, though, I think will celebrate tonight. 55 seconds off the pace.
Despite the successful debut at the World Cup, Stina's fast rise was met with great controversy. Many fans questioned whether Stina was worthy of the promotion she had been receiving. Even going back to her performances that earned her a spot on the IBU Cup, she wasn't a clear favorite to be picked for the team, and questions arose regarding the politics around Stina's team naming. This questioning of Stina's legitimacy would take a hold of the media anytime she had a poor performance. The Swedish women's biathlon team was separating itself as one of the best teams in the world, and the depth that they had between the World Cup and the IBU Cup made people wonder if there could have been a more competitive athlete in Stina's place, or if Stina was getting special treatment due to her name recognition.
Does she think she can hit 5? Perhaps not. Perhaps not, but what a shame.
Putting all the controversy behind her, Stina stayed focused on herself and continued to see improvement on the World Cup. Her shooting percentage would maintain a manageable 75%, and on occasion, her ski times would be the fastest in the world. She was hunting for the elusive spot on the Beijing Olympic team and needed a good result to keep the naysayers at bay. In her last World Cup race before the Olympics, Stina sealed her fate, and not in a good way. Finishing 93rd place in the rope holding sprint, Stina saw her worst result since her first race of her career. Despite her poor performance, Stina would be selected to the games as an alternate, but would not get the opportunity to start a race. Only 4 years after the PyeongChang Games, where she earned 4 Olympic medals, including a gold in the sprint, many fans felt Stina made a terrible mistake switching to biathlon. She was once a hero, and now she's a nobody.
To 3, and it's Stina Nilsson. She has arrived in the world of biathlon. That one miss in the standing shoot has cost her the win, but the first ever podium in the World Cup, I think she can afford. I don't think she's got the energy for the smile, but there'll be a big grin on her face tonight.
In her first race back after the Olympic Games, Stina silenced the critics by earning her first World Cup podium. Shooting 90% and boasting the fastest ski time in the Kontiolahti sprint, Stina earned a bronze medal and silenced the critics once again.
I think that I have done the right decision when I changed sport, but I think I needed 1 year just to get to know the sport. I had never tried the sport before. I had only seen it on television, and it looked fun. But I think you need to race it to know what you need to train. It's quite a journey, it makes me really proud to see that journey and the job that I have done. Of course, it gives me even more motivation to keep on this journey.
Stina would continue with biathlon after the 22 season, and her performance was much of the same. She would continue to bounce between the IBU Cup and the World Cup, posting decent ski times and frustrating shooting performances, seemingly missing one too many shots to earn a top result. In the spring of 2024, Stina announced she would be stepping back from biathlon and focus on ski classics, and once again, disgruntled fans grumbled about how Stina's biathlon career was a failure. And even though Stina's results in the biathlon world did not overshadow her performance on the fifth circuit, Stina's career was far from a failure. First, Stina was a contributing member to one of the best women's biathlon teams in the world. While her results were more erratic than others, she regularly earned Sweden valuable Nation Cup points and even helped her relay team to a silver medal in her one and only World Cup relay race. Also, despite fans' expectations that Stina would burst onto the scene with unmatched ski speed, Stina did achieve top ski ranks during her brief career. Between 2020 and 2024, in 121 races, only 19 different women earned the honor of fastest skier, and Stina was one of them. That's only 6% of racers who can claim they had the fastest course time. Now, finally, reaching the podium on the Biathlon World Cup is a massive feat. Throughout the biathlon history, 1,200 different women have put on the race bib and tried to claim the top prize. Many great biathletes who had long successful careers never earned a podium finish. Of those 1,200 women, less than 19% of them had ever reached the podium in their careers, and Stina is among those women. So it's clear that Stina Nilsson's move to biathlon was far from a failure. Instead, it was a bold and courageous decision to challenge herself in one of the most competitive sports in the world. Her ability to compete at the highest level, earn a podium finish, and contribute to the success of the Swedish team should be celebrated. And she did it all under the immense spotlight of the Scandinavian media and enormous expectations of ski fans around the world. Stina's ability to pick up a new sport and learn it on the fly in the middle of competition under this immense spotlight is something that should be celebrated on its own. If you compare 2021 Stina to 2024 Stina, you'd be comparing someone who looked like they were trying the sport for the first time and a seasoned veteran. As Stina Nilsson continues her journey, she remains an inspiring figure for athletes everywhere, showing that success is not just measured by medals and titles, but the willingness to embrace challenges and persist in the face of adversity. Whether in cross-country skiing or biathlon, Stina's legacy will surely be remembered and act as an inspiration for skiers decades to come.